Well, happy Friday to you. Welcome to A Pulse on Prophecy. And today I want to just briefly go through a prophecy in Psalm 83. And first let you know that this particular prophecy was written about 3,000 years ago. And it deals with the nation of Israel and falls in line just perfectly with the way things are going today. So we're going to read through it, and we're only going to do just a few verses here, but identify some of the players in it. And as we do this, I think you should ask yourself, well, wait a second, did that prophecy say this and that and these people, this? Whatever it may be, think about this as we go. So starting in Psalm 83 verse 1, it says a song, a psalm of Asaph. So not written by David, but apparently by Asaph, or at least the musical portion. Do not keep silent, O God. Do not hold your peace, and do not be still, O God. And basically what the psalmist is saying here is, God, look at what's going on. Now, you don't need to remind God to do that. He sees everything that goes on. He goes on in Psalm 83:2. He says, for behold, your enemies make a tumult. In other words, they're causing a lot of problems, and those who hate you have lifted up their head. So those who hate God, and we're talking Yahweh, we're talking the God of the Bible, those who hate God are lifting up their heads, and they're moving against him, and they are moving against his people. He goes on to say, they have taken crafty counsel together, meaning those that are involved, and he'll tell you who they are in just a moment, they're kind of getting together and forming a conspiracy against the nation of Israel. Not the first time things like that have happened. Not the last time, but boy, I'm telling you, especially when we get into the book of Revelation, you're going to see how all of this stuff ties together. But even outside the book of Revelation, we can look at this and say, hey, this is happening right now. Prophecy being fulfilled right before your eyes. Because it continues on in Psalm 83 verse 4. He says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more. Boy, this should bring something to mind. From the river to the sea, from the Jordan River to the sea, the eradication of the nation of Israel as part of the 1988 Hamas Charter. They want to kill all the Jews. They want to destroy Israel. As you've got these protesters on American college campuses and universities who are crying out from the river to the sea, death to Israel, death to America, etc., death to the Jews, and preventing Jewish students from going to class, calling for the absolute destruction of the nation of Israel. This is coming together as a head now. And of course, we shouldn't be surprised, because we know in the end times, those of you who follow Bible prophecy, that Jerusalem will become a cup of trembling. And they most definitely are. All eyes around the world are on the nation of Israel right now. And a lot of those eyes want to seek for their destruction. They want to absolutely wipe the nation of Israel out. So as we continue on, he goes on to say that the name of Israel may be remembered no more, river to the sea. For they have consulted together with one consent, and they form a confederacy against you. So he's going to talk about some areas in the Middle East that have come together to form a confederacy against the nation of Israel, seeking to destroy the nation of Israel. Now, not all of the nations are mentioned here in Psalm 83, but enough of them are to give you a good idea, especially when you look at most of these as being proxies of Iran. So he goes on to say, so they've consulted together with one council. They form a confederacy against you. The tents of Edom, which would be down by southwestern Jordan, which could go all the way down to Yemen, and the Houthis in that particular area, who of course have been launching missiles into the Red Sea, targeting shipping lanes, and also have launched some drones against the nation of Israel as well, but it was prophesied it was going to happen. And the Ishmaelites, which would be parts of Saudi Arabia, not all of Saudi Arabia. Now, Saudi Arabia has basically been somewhat silent in everything that is going on in this particular area. Though you might remember when we look at things that came out of Saudi Arabia, 23 years ago, or almost 23 years ago, in September of 2001, September 11th, where did these 19 terrorists come from? Well, the vast majority of people involved in that atrocity against the United States were from Saudi Arabia. And, well, it'll continue on. So he goes on to say, and Moab, which is going to be, again, southern Jordan, and the Hagrites, Egypt. Now, Egypt hasn't been too actively involved at this particular point, though they have been preventing the Palestinian refugees from coming out through Rafah and getting into Egypt for the most part. We have seen Egypt move against Israel in the past. You know, you can go back to the wars in the 60s and 70s against the nation of Israel, or when Egypt itself moved all of their tanks against the nation of Israel until they came up with a peace treaty, which may not be long lasting, but they have moved against Israel in the past, and they have been involved. And that's, again, the Hagrites, the Egypt. He goes on to say Gebal, and this is going to be the area around Lebanon, which, guess what big group is in that particular area? Hezbollah, you heard of them? And Ammon, again, Jordan and Syria, parts of Syria. And Hezbollah, once again, around Syria. And proxies of Iran. They have formed this confederacy to wipe out, to destroy Israel. We see beyond that, we also have Amalek, the Amalekites, which if you talk to some Islamic scholars, they say, well, that's the Amalekites ended up in around Mecca in Saudi Arabia, but in reality, it's most likely in Canaan, which would include areas of Gaza and Palestine. So we're looking at Hamas as well, those being involved to seek the destruction of Israel. And of course, 70+% of the Palestinians support Hamas and therefore support the notion of from the river to the sea. So this is coming into play. And then we also see Philistia, that's going to be the Palestinians, with the inhabitants of Tyre, and of course that's over on the coast, and that's going to be up north. Once again, Hezbollah, these proxies of Iran moving together. And Gebal, which is going to be Lebanon, Hezbollah, Ammon, Jordan, we've gone through all of these. They're all coming together. Hezbollah, Hamas, go on and on and on. Assyria, which now will include Iraq and parts of Turkey. And Turkey has just recently Erdogan has called on Islam everywhere, Muslims all around the world, to join together against the nation of Israel. It is a confederacy. They are moving against them. So they have all joined together. They have helped the children of Lot. And if you remember the story of Lot in the book of Genesis, as he went out, ended up having sex with his daughters. He was drunk, not willing, though I still can't understand how anyone can be that drunk. But from his daughters came some very bad offspring. But they have joined together now to destroy the nation of Israel. They are looking to wipe Israel out. Prophecy is alive, folks. And over the next few weeks, months, as long as I'm still around, we're going to look very closely at prophecy in a variety of locations. We'll look at some end times prophecy. We'll look at some prophecy that has already been fulfilled. We'll look at the Bible in general, but I want you to think about Psalm 83. And while you're at it, and we won't deal with that this morning, you might also take a look at Isaiah 17, dealing with Damascus, and see where we're heading there. Can you do that? Anyway, what I would like to hear from you is your comments, your questions, your support, your against what we're doing here, whatever it may be. It's perfectly all right. I'm thick-skinned. You can say whatever you want to say. But we would like your comments, your questions. Share this, like it, hopefully. Send it to others. Join, subscribe. Just become part of the group so that you can be notified when we have things coming out. We're going to have a lot more coming out very, very shortly. In the meantime, from A Pulse on Prophecy, I'm Stuart. I want to say hi and a lot to talk about. So good day, God bless, and I'll see you again very, very soon.